My brother Jake fucked my wife in our own bed while I was deployed in Afghanistan. The text from my neighbor revealing everything came through just hours after I'd been medically discharged. I read it standing in my own living room, still wearing the uniform I'd worn home. My name's Daniel Harrison, 47 years old, 2 decades of service, multiple tours in special operations, the kind of guy who'd spent more nights under desert stars than in his own bed. Sarah and I had been married for 16 years. High school sweethearts who thought we'd beaten the odds of military marriages. I'd seen combat. I'd lost brothers in arms. But nothing prepared me for the clinical precision of betrayal happening right under my nose. Jake was my younger brother, 10 years my junior. He'd always looked up to me, followed my military path until a knee injury kept him stateside. I'd helped him get his first job, co-signed his first car loan, been more of a father figure than a brother. The medical discharge wasn't something I'd planned. 3 IED explosions, the last one in Kandahar, had finally taken their toll. My right leg never quite recovered, and the military decided my active service was over. Rehabilitation, physical therapy, learning to walk without a limp, these became my new missions. Sarah had been supportive, or so I thought, attending every doctor's appointment, helping me through the painful recovery, holding my hand during the darkest moments. When the neighbor's text came through, it was like a precision-guided missile striking everything I believed about my life. Daniel, I'm sorry to be the one to tell you, but I've seen Jake's truck at your house multiple times when you were deployed, and not just passing through. He'd stay for hours. The timestamp showed the messages were from weeks ago. During my last deployment, I didn't call Sarah, didn't confront Jake. Years of military training had taught me something more valuable than combat skills: strategic observation. Every movement calculated, every response measured. The initial shock was a wave that crashed through me, but beneath it, a cold, methodical determination was already forming. The house we'd bought together was in my name. A VA loan I'd qualified for after my second tour. Sarah had always pushed for this place, a suburban home in Colorado Springs, close to the military base, with a view of Pikes Peak. She'd managed the interior, chosen the furniture, made it feel like home during my brief returns from deployment. My medical records told a story of sacrifice: 3 major surgeries, months of rehabilitation. The military had compensated me, recognizing the permanent damage from years of service. A disability rating that meant monthly checks, medical benefits, a recognition of the physical toll of defending a country. What Sarah and Jake didn't know was that I'd been meticulously documenting our finances for years. Every deployment, every combat bonus, every disability payment, I knew exactly where each dollar had gone. Military precision wasn't just a professional skill, it was how I lived my entire life. The first call I made was to my buddy Marcus, a military lawyer who'd helped countless veterans navigate complex legal landscapes. I need a complete financial audit, I told him, and I need it done quietly. Marcus understood. He'd seen marriages destroyed by deployment, by the stress of military life. But this was different. This was a calculated betrayal that went beyond a momentary weakness. My brother Jake worked as a construction supervisor, the kind of job that looked respectable from the outside. Regular hours, steady paycheck. What people didn't see was how he'd always lived in my shadow. Every achievement of mine was a benchmark he could never quite reach. I'd rescued him multiple times, financially, professionally, personally. And this was how he repaid that loyalty. Sarah worked as a real estate agent, flexible hours that meant she could manage our home while I was deployed. She'd built a reputation in Colorado Springs, known for her smooth-talking style and extensive network. What I was discovering now was that her networking skills extended far beyond professional boundaries. The neighbor who sent the text was Tom Reynolds, a retired sergeant who lived 2 doors down. He'd been watching out for me, a silent guardian, during my deployments. "Thought you should know," his message read. "Didn't feel right keeping this from you. Military brotherhood extended beyond active service. I spent that first night in our home, my home, mapping out everything. Bank statements spread across the dining room table, phone records pulled from our joint account, text message logs. Each document was a piece of evidence, each page a potential weapon in the war I was about to wage. The military had trained me to assess threats, to understand complex terrains, to plan multiple moves ahead. This wasn't just about catching a cheating wife and a betraying brother. This was about dismantling a deception that had been building for years. And I was going to do it with the same strategic precision I'd used in some of the most dangerous missions of my life. By dawn, a plan was forming. Not a plan of immediate revenge, but a calculated strategy that would expose everything. Sarah and Jake thought they were clever. They had no idea what was coming. My first move wasn't confrontation. It was gathering intelligence. I reached out to my sister-in-law, Emma, Jake's wife. We'd always been close, and she had no idea about the affair. Our conversation was strategic, casual, designed to extract information without revealing my hand. "How's Jake been lately?" I asked during a seemingly routine call. Her hesitation spoke volumes before she even started talking. Jake had been working extra hours, taking mysterious trips, becoming increasingly secretive. Emma thought he was having a midlife crisis. She had no idea how close to the truth she was. I contacted my military contacts, discreet professionals who understood the art of information gathering. Within a week, I had a comprehensive file on both Sarah and Jake's movements during my deployments. Phone records showed a pattern of communication that went far beyond casual sibling interactions. Multiple late-night calls, text messages deleted from shared family plans, coordinated absences that aligned perfectly with my extended deployments. The VA disability payments I'd been receiving were my lifeline. Most people saw them as compensation for physical injuries. What they didn't understand was that these funds represented more than just monetary support. They were a testament to my service, to the years I'd sacrificed protecting a country that now felt like a distant concept. My lawyer, Marcus, became my strategic ally. A veteran himself, he understood the complexity of military divorces. "This isn't just about infidelity," he explained during our first serious meeting. "This is about systematic betrayal. Your brother used your absence, exploited your trust in the most fundamental way possible. I discovered that Jake had been helping Sarah refinance parts of our property, small moves, carefully orchestrated, a home equity line of credit here, a property tax adjustment there. Nothing massive enough to trigger immediate suspicion, but a slow, calculated erosion of my financial foundation. The military had taught me patience, reconnaissance, understanding your enemy's movements before making a single move. I wasn't interested in an emotional outburst. I wanted a surgical strike that would dismantle everything they'd built. My physical rehabilitation took on a new purpose. Each physical therapy session became a metaphor for my larger strategy: rebuilding strength, calculating precise movements, understanding my own limitations while finding ways to overcome them. A breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Tom, the neighbor who initially sent me the text, had been keeping additional records, security camera footage, timestamps of Jake's truck arriving when I was deployed, dates that perfectly aligned with my extended missions. Tom's military background meant he understood the importance of documentation. I learned that they'd been planning this for longer than I initially thought. Sarah had been slowly moving money into separate accounts. Jake had been helping her create a financial escape route. They believed they were being clever, but they didn't understand the level of strategic thinking I'd learned through years of military service. My disability insurance became another critical tool. Most saw it as compensation for physical injuries. I saw it as a financial weapon. Marcus helped me understand every single clause, every potential legal avenue. The money wasn't just support, it was evidence of my continued service, my continued sacrifice. Emma eventually became my unexpected ally. When I carefully shared the evidence I'd gathered, her world shattered. Her marriage to Jake, like mine to Sarah, had been built on a foundation of lies. She wasn't interested in revenge. She wanted truth. The military community is small. Word travels fast but carefully. I wasn't interested in public humiliation. I wanted a precise, legally devastating response. Each piece of evidence was meticulously collected. Phone records, financial statements, time-stamped communications. My physical injury, which had initially felt like a weakness, became my greatest strength. The medical documentation detailing my rehabilitation, my continued service, despite physical challenges, would become crucial in the legal battles to come. Every doctor's report, every physical therapy session was now potential evidence. Jake had always lived in my shadow, constantly trying to prove himself. This affair was his ultimate act of rebellion. Sleeping with my wife while I was defending our country, it was a betrayal that went beyond personal boundaries. It was a violation of the most fundamental military code, loyalty. Sarah thought she was being smart, moving money, creating separate accounts, planning her exit strategy. What she didn't understand was that every move she made was being documented. Every financial transaction was leaving a trail. The pieces were coming together. Not through anger, but through calculated precision. My response would be surgical, devastating, and they had no idea what was coming. The legal preparation was my new deployment. Marcus helped me understand every nuanced strategy. We weren't just preparing for a divorce. We were building a comprehensive case that would expose the full extent of their betrayal. Military precision translated perfectly into legal strategy. Every document was a weapon, every piece of evidence a potential turning point. Sarah and Jake thought they were operating in the shadows, but I was illuminating every dark corner of their deception. I discovered they'd been planning this for almost 2 years. Subtle financial moves, careful communications, a slow, methodical dismantling of our life together while I was serving overseas. Jake used his construction connections to help Sarah secretly value and prepare to sell our property. They'd even consulted a real estate attorney about potential property divisions, assuming I'd be blindsided. Emma became an unexpected source of critical information. Her access to Jake's personal documents, combined with her growing suspicion, provided crucial evidence: bank statements showing transfers, credit card receipts from hotels, detailed records of their ongoing affair that spanned multiple years of my deployments. My military records became my strongest defense. Detailed documentation of my service, medical evaluations proving my continued commitment despite significant physical challenges. Each document was a testament to my character, a direct contradiction to the narrative Sarah and Jake were preparing to present. The VA disability payments weren't just financial support. They were a lifeline that would prove critical in the upcoming legal battle. Marcus helped me understand how these payments would be viewed in a divorce proceeding. Community property laws in Colorado would work to my advantage, especially given the circumstances of the betrayal. I started documenting everything: conversations with Emma, text messages from Tom, the vigilant neighbor, financial records showing the systematic way Sarah and Jake had been preparing their escape. Each piece of evidence was carefully catalogued, dated, verified. The military community is tight-knit. Word travels fast, but carefully. I wasn't interested in public humiliation. I wanted a precise, legally devastating response. My fellow veterans started reaching out, offering support, sharing information. The brotherhood extends far beyond active service. Jake had always lived in my shadow, constantly trying to prove himself. This affair was his ultimate act of rebellion. Sleeping with my wife while I was defending our country, it was a betrayal that went beyond personal boundaries. It was a violation of the most fundamental military code, loyalty. My physical rehabilitation took on new meaning. Each therapy session became a metaphor for my larger strategy, rebuilding strength, calculating precise movements, understanding my own limitations while finding ways to overcome them. The injuries that had ended my active service were now becoming my greatest weapon. The property we'd bought together was entirely in my name. A VA loan I'd qualified for after my second tour. Sarah had always pushed for this place, a suburban home in Colorado Springs, with a view of Pikes Peak. Now that same property would become a critical piece of our legal battle. Marcus helped me understand the legal landscape. In Colorado, infidelity could significantly impact divorce proceedings, especially when one spouse had been actively serving the country. The courts take a dim view of betrayal, particularly when it involves a service member deployed overseas. Gathered everything, phone records showing Jake's frequent visits during my deployments, financial statements revealing their coordinated efforts to prepare for a life without me, text messages that revealed the depth of their relationship. Each piece of evidence was a precision-guided missile ready to destroy their carefully constructed lie. Emma's support became crucial. When she learned the full extent of their betrayal, she became an unexpected ally. Her own marriage to Jake was crumbling, and she was committed to uncovering the truth. She provided access to documents, shared information, became a critical source of intelligence. The military had taught me to assess threats, to understand complex terrains, to plan multiple moves ahead. This wasn't just about catching a cheating wife and a betraying brother. This was about dismantling a deception that had been building for years. By the time I was ready to file, I had a weapons-grade case, financial records, communication logs, testimony from neighbors, medical documentation proving my continued service and character. Sarah and Jake thought they were clever. They had no idea what was coming. My strategy was simple: total exposure. Not just a divorce, but a complete dismantling of their carefully constructed lies. Every piece of evidence was meticulously prepared, every document carefully reviewed. I was going to war, and I was going to win. The courtroom felt like familiar territory, not because I was a lawyer, but because confronting challenges head-on was etched into my military DNA. Sarah sat across the room with her attorney, looking smaller than I remembered. Jake wasn't present, his cowardice extending even to legal proceedings. Judge Margaret Reyes was known for her no-nonsense approach to divorce cases, especially those involving military personnel. She'd served as a military JAG officer before, becoming a judge, which meant she understood the nuanced complexities of service member divorces better than most. "Mr. Harrison," she began, adjusting her glasses, "the evidence you've presented is quite comprehensive." The file I'd assembled was nearly 3 inches thick, a testament to years of careful documentation. Each page represented a moment of betrayal, a calculated move against my trust and service. Marcus had prepared me meticulously. "This isn't just about dividing assets," he'd explained. "This is about exposing a systemic betrayal that occurred while you were defending your country. The military community would be watching. Every veteran understands the sacred trust between a service member and their family. The financial forensics were devastating. Jake had been helping Sarah move money, create hidden accounts, prepare an exit strategy that would leave me with nothing. But they'd made one critical mistake. They'd underestimated my ability to track every single financial movement. Emma's testimony became a turning point. She detailed Jake's systematic betrayal, the years of lies, the coordinated effort to destroy our lives. Her voice broke several times, but her resolve was unshakable. She wasn't just testifying against her husband. She was exposing a fundamental breach of familial trust. Tom, the neighbor, provided crucial video evidence. time-stamped footage showing Jake's truck at our house during my deployments. Late night, meetings, suspicious movements that went far beyond innocent sibling interactions. Each frame was another nail in their coffin. My military medical records became an unexpected weapon, documentation of my continued service despite significant physical challenges, proof of my character, my commitment, my sacrifice. The VA disability payments weren't just financial support, they were a testament to my ongoing dedication. Sarah's attorney tried to paint me as an absent husband, long deployments, emotional distance, the standard narrative of a military marriage falling apart. But Marcus systematically dismantled every single argument. Who was truly absent, the husband serving his country or the wife carrying on an affair with her brother-in-law? The property valuation became another critical battleground. The house we'd bought together, a VA loan in my name, was now a central point of contention, but the evidence of their coordinated efforts to prepare for its sale worked against them. Every communication, every subtle financial move was now exposed. Judge Reyes listened carefully, her military background providing a unique perspective. "Mr. Harrison," she said at one point, "the level of documentation you've provided is extraordinary. It wasn't just about winning a divorce. It was about exposing a fundamental betrayal. Financial experts brought in to analyze the evidence confirmed what I already knew. Sarah and Jake had been planning this for years. Subtle transfers, hidden communications, a carefully orchestrated plan to leave me with nothing while I was serving overseas. My disability became my strength. The injuries that had ended my active service were now proving to be my most powerful asset. Medical documentation showed my continued commitment, my character, my resilience. Each doctor's report was another piece of evidence of my integrity. The military community rallied behind me, not through direct intervention, but through silent support. Veterans understand brotherhood. Veterans understand loyalty. And what Sarah and Jake had done violated every single principle of trust and commitment. Emma's testimony was particularly devastating. She detailed Jake's pattern of betrayal, the years of lies, the coordinated effort to destroy our lives. Her voice broke several times, but her resolve was unshakable. She wasn't just testifying against her husband, she was exposing a fundamental breach of familial trust. As the proceedings continued, it became clear this was about more than just a divorce. This was about exposing a systemic betrayal that occurred while I was defending my country. Every veteran in that courtroom understood the sacred trust between a service member and their family. The financial forensics told a story of calculated betrayal, years of careful planning, coordinated efforts to leave me with nothing, but they'd made one critical mistake. They'd underestimated my ability to track every single financial movement. By the time the hearing concluded, the outcome was inevitable. Sarah and Jake had systematically destroyed their own credibility. Every piece of evidence, every testimony, every financial record worked against them. They thought they were being clever. They had no idea what was coming. The judge's ruling was more than a legal document. It was a complete vindication. Judge Reyes didn't just divide assets. She systematically dismantled every lie Sarah and Jake had constructed over years of careful deception. I was awarded full ownership of the house, complete control of our joint financial assets, sole rights to the VA benefits and disability payments. But more importantly, the ruling was a public exposure of their betrayal. The language was unambiguous. The court found Sarah and Jake's actions to be a deliberate and calculated attempt to exploit my military service. Emma's support became my unexpected lifeline. She was going through her own divorce, processing the massive betrayal by her husband. We found strength in our shared experience, a connection forged through the most difficult of circumstances. Her access to Jake's personal documents had been crucial in building the case, and she continued to be a source of unexpected support. The military community responded in ways I never expected. Fellow veterans reached out, not with pity, but with a profound sense of solidarity. They understood the depth of betrayal, the sacred trust that had been violated. Care packages started arriving, job offers, invitations to veteran support. Groups. My rehabilitation took on new meaning. Each physical therapy session became a metaphor for my larger journey of recovery. Rebuilding wasn't just about my body. It was about reconstructing my entire life, piece by piece. The injuries that had ended my active service were now becoming the foundation of my new beginning. Financial recovery became my new mission. Marcus helped me understand every aspect of the settlement. The VE disability payments weren't just compensation, they were a lifeline, a recognition of my continued service and sacrifice. I began to see my medical discharge not as an ending, but as a new beginning. Tom, the vigilant neighbor who first exposed the affair, became more than just an acquaintance. He introduced me to a network of veterans who were rebuilding their lives. Support groups, job training programs, resources I never knew existed. The brotherhood extended far beyond active service. I discovered that Jake had been systematically trying to destroy my professional reputation. Subtle attempts to undermine my contracting opportunities, whisper campaigns among local businesses. But the court's ruling made those attempts meaningless. In fact, it had the opposite effect. Veterans and business owners rallied around me. The property became more than just a house. It was a symbol of my resilience. I began renovating, turning it into something entirely my own. Each repair, each improvement was a metaphor for my own healing. The walls that had witnessed betrayal would now become a testament to my strength. My military training proved invaluable in this new mission of personal reconstruction. Strategic planning, careful assessment of resources, understanding long-term objectives. The skills that had kept me alive in combat zones were now keeping me focused on rebuilding my life. Emma's journey became intertwined with mine. We started a support group for veterans dealing with personal betrayal. Not just a support group, but a resource network, connecting people with legal help, financial advice, emotional support. What had started as our individual pain became a collective source of strength. The financial forensics continued to reveal more: hidden accounts, planned transfers. Jake had been using his construction connections to create a complex web of financial deception, but every layer we uncovered only strengthened our case. The court's initial ruling was just the beginning. I began speaking at veterans' events, sharing my story not as a victim, but as a survivor. Each speaking engagement became a platform for understanding the complex challenges veterans face. Not just in combat, but in the personal battles that follow, Marcus helped me understand the full implications of the court's ruling. It wasn't just a financial victory, it was a legal precedent. The way the judge addressed the betrayal of a service member could potentially help other veterans facing similar challenges. The VA benefits took on new meaning. No longer just financial compensation, they became a tool for reconstruction. I enrolled in training programs, started exploring new career opportunities. The medical discharge that once felt like an ending was now a doorway to something entirely new. My relationship with my military brothers became stronger. They saw me not as a victim, but as someone who had navigated an impossible situation with strategy and integrity. Job offers started coming in, consulting opportunities, speaking engagements. The house became a project of transformation, each room a testament to my new beginning. I documented the renovation, sharing the process with other veterans going through similar life transitions. What had been a symbol of betrayal was becoming a beacon of hope. Emma and I continued our support network, expanding it beyond our initial group. We connected with legal professionals, financial advisors, mental health experts who understood the unique challenges faced by veterans. What had started as our individual pain was becoming a movement. The final piece of the puzzle came unexpectedly. Additional evidence surfaced about Jake's long-term financial manipulations. It wasn't just about the affair, it was a systematic attempt to destroy my life while I was serving my country. Each new revelation only strengthened our position. I realized the true victory wasn't in the court's ruling, it was in how I chose to rebuild. Sarah and Jake thought they were taking everything from me. Instead, they'd given me the greatest gift: the opportunity to completely reconstruct my life on my own terms. The years following the divorce became a testament to resilience. What Sarah and Jake intended as my destruction became the foundation of my most significant transformation. The veterans support network we'd built grew beyond anything I could have imagined. Our organization, Veterans Rebuilt, started in a small community center in Colorado Springs. What began as a support group for veterans dealing with personal betrayal became a national movement. Emma and I discovered we had a talent for turning personal pain into collective healing. We developed programs addressing the unique challenges veterans face, not just in combat, but in the complex personal battles that follow military service. Financial workshops became our cornerstone. We brought in experts who understood the intricate challenges of military finances, disability benefits, VA loans, divorce protections, knowledge that could protect veterans from the kind of systematic betrayal I'd experienced. Each workshop was packed, each story a reminder of the silent battles fought by those who'd served. My physical rehabilitation continued, but now with a different purpose. I started working with adaptive fitness programs for disabled veterans. The injuries that had ended my military career became tools for helping others. Speaking engagements took me across the country, sharing not a story of victimhood, but of strategic transformation. The legal precedent set by my case began to have broader implications. Other veterans reached out, sharing similar stories of betrayal. Marcus and I worked together, developing legal strategies that could protect service members during vulnerable periods. What had started as my personal battle was becoming a broader movement for justice. Emma's expertise became crucial to our mission. Her background in forensic accounting allowed us to develop financial literacy programs specifically designed for military families. We exposed the subtle ways partners could manipulate finances during deployments. Prevention became our greatest weapon. Tom, the neighbor who first exposed the affair, became a key advisor. His background in security systems helped us develop workshops on personal protection, not just physical, but financial and emotional. We created resources for veterans to protect themselves during periods of vulnerability. The renovation of my house became a metaphor for larger transformations. I turned it into a training center for Veterans Rebuilt. Each room became a space for healing, for education, for rebuilding. The walls that had once witnessed my greatest betrayal now supported countless veterans finding their path forward. My relationship with the military community deepened. What began as individual support became a comprehensive network: job placement programs, mental health resources, financial counseling. We weren't just helping veterans survive, we were helping them thrive. The media began to take notice. Our first national interview came unexpectedly. A documentary crew wanted to explore the story of how a systematic betrayal had been transformed into a movement of hope. I was careful in how I told the story, not as a tale of revenge, but of strategic reconstruction. Jake's attempts to rebuild his life fell apart. The legal and professional consequences of his actions followed him. Construction contracts dried up. His reputation in the local business community became toxic. Sarah faced similar professional challenges. Their attempt to destroy my life had ultimately destroyed their own. Our Veterans Support Network expanded beyond financial and legal help. We developed mental health programs specifically designed for service members, understanding the unique challenges of military life, the invisible wounds that persist long after physical injuries heal. The VA began to take notice of our work. Invitations to advisory committees, consultations on policy changes. What had started as my personal battle was becoming a catalyst for systemic change. We were addressing gaps in support for veterans that had existed for decades. Emma's journey became as significant as mine. She transformed her pain into purpose, becoming a national speaker on veterans support and personal resilience. Our partnership was professional, built on a shared understanding of betrayal and recovery. Financial recovery became a science we perfected. We developed comprehensive guides for military families, protection strategies, early warning signs of financial manipulation, resources for service members during deployment. Each guide was based on our personal experiences, refined through extensive research. The speaking circuit took us across the country, universities, military bases, veterans organizations. Our message was consistent. Betrayal is not the end of your story. It's an opportunity for radical transformation. Technology became our ally. We developed apps designed to help veterans track financial movements, protect personal information, create support networks. What had been a personal strategy of survival was now a tool for thousands of service members. Our work caught the attention of national veterans organizations, invitations to testify before congressional committees, consultations on policy changes. The ripple effect of our work extended far beyond our initial vision. The house that was once a symbol of betrayal became a national training center. Workshops, support groups, educational programs, a physical manifestation of our belief that personal challenges can be transformed into collective strength. I thought about Sarah and Jake sometimes, not with anger, but with a sense of profound detachment. They had intended to destroy me. Instead, they had given me a purpose larger than myself. Every veteran we helped was a victory more significant than any legal judgment. Reflection became my most powerful tool, understanding that the greatest revenge is not destruction, but creation, building something meaningful from the ruins of betrayal. Our organization became a living testament to the resilience of veterans. The final chapter was still being written. Veterans Rebuilt continued to grow. Each day brought new challenges, new opportunities to support those who had served. What had begun as my personal battle had become a movement of hope, of transformation, of unbreakable spirit. The national recognition came slowly, then all at once. Our work with Veterans Rebuilt had transformed from a local support group to a comprehensive national movement. The White House took notice, inviting us to discuss veteran support programs that address the complex challenges of military families beyond traditional support structures. My physical journey continued to evolve. The injuries that had ended, my military career became a source of unexpected strength. I developed adaptive fitness programs specifically designed for veterans with physical challenges. Each workshop, each training session became a testament to the human capacity for transformation. Emma's forensic work uncovered systemic issues that extended far beyond individual cases of betrayal. We discovered patterns of financial exploitation, targeting military families during deployments. Banks, insurance companies, even some military support systems had built-in vulnerabilities that predators could easily exploit. The technology we developed became a crucial tool for veteran protection. Our mobile application, initially conceived as a financial tracking tool, evolved into a comprehensive support system. It could detect unusual financial movements, provide legal resources, connect veterans with immediate support networks. Congressional hearings became a regular part of our work. We testified about the unique vulnerabilities faced by military families, financial exploitation, emotional betrayal, the complex challenges of maintaining relationships during extended deployments. Our personal stories became a catalyst for meaningful policy changes. Tom's security expertise helped us develop comprehensive protection strategies. We created training programs for military families about personal and financial security, understanding warning signs, developing communication strategies, protecting themselves during periods of extended separation. The speaking circuit took us to military bases, universities, corporate conferences. Our message resonated beyond the veteran community. We were talking about resilience, about transforming personal challenges into collective strength. Each presentation was a strategic deconstruction of victimhood. Our work caught the attention of major media outlets. A documentary crew followed our journey, capturing the transformation from personal betrayal to a national movement. They were interested not in the sensational aspects of my story, but in the strategic approach to rebuilding. The VA began implementing programs based on our recommendations: financial literacy courses, support networks for families during deployments, mental health resources specifically designed for the unique challenges of military life. What had started as my personal battle was now creating systemic change. Emma's research uncovered deeper systemic issues. We found that military families were particularly vulnerable to financial and emotional exploitation. Our data showed patterns that extended far beyond individual cases. We weren't just telling stories, we were revealing comprehensive societal challenges. Technology became our most powerful tool. We developed machine learning algorithms that could detect patterns of financial exploitation, early warning systems for military families, resources that could predict and prevent the kind of systematic betrayal I had experienced. The house that was once a symbol of my personal betrayal became a national training center. Each room transformed into a different resource center: financial, planning, mental health support, legal advice, a physical manifestation of our commitment to veteran support. Our network expanded internationally. Military families from around the world reached out, sharing similar stories of betrayal and resilience. We developed resources that transcended national boundaries, understanding that the challenges of military families were universal. Jake and Sarah became distant memories. Their attempt to destroy my life had ultimately created something far more significant. Every veteran we helped was a victory more profound than any personal revenge. Our work had transformed personal pain into a movement of hope. The medical community began to take notice. We developed a holistic approach to veteran support that addressed physical, emotional, and financial challenges. Rehabilitation wasn't just about physical recovery. It was about comprehensive life reconstruction. Congressional support grew. Legislation began to emerge that addressed the vulnerabilities we had exposed. Financial protections for deployed service members, enhanced support, systems for military families. Our personal story had become a catalyst for meaningful policy changes. Emma's work in forensic analysis became a critical resource. We developed training programs for financial investigators, helping them understand the subtle ways financial exploitation occurs. Our methods became standard training for legal and financial professionals dealing with military families. The technology we developed continued to evolve. Artificial intelligence algorithms that could detect patterns of financial manipulation. Support networks that could provide immediate resources. We were using technology to create a comprehensive safety net for military families. Our speaking engagements took us to international platforms, military conferences, global veteran support organizations. Our message resonated beyond individual experiences. We were talking about resilience, about transforming personal challenges into collective strength. The VA began to implement comprehensive changes based on our recommendations. Support systems that address the full spectrum of challenges faced by military families. Our work had exposed systemic vulnerabilities and provided strategic solutions. Reflection became our most powerful tool, understanding that true victory wasn't about revenge, but about creating meaningful change. Each veteran we helped was a testament to the power of strategic transformation. The final chapter was still being written. Veterans Rebuilt continued to grow, to evolve. Each day brought new challenges, new opportunities to support those who had served. What had begun as my personal battle had become a movement of unbreakable spirit, of hope, of fundamental transformation. 10 years had passed since that moment in my living room when I first learned of Sarah and Jake's betrayal. The landscape of my life had transformed so completely that the pain of those early days felt like a distant memory, almost belonging to someone else. Veterans Rebuilt had become a national institution, recognized by the federal government as a critical support network for military families. Our approach went far beyond traditional support models. We weren't just offering assistance, we were fundamentally reimagining how society supports those who serve. The technology we'd developed became a blueprint for veteran support systems. Worldwide, our mobile application, initially conceived as a financial tracking tool, had evolved into a comprehensive ecosystem of support. Machine learning algorithms could now predict potential vulnerabilities in military families, offering proactive support before crises could develop. Emma had become a national expert on military family dynamics. Her research had been instrumental in creating new federal guidelines for protecting service members during deployments. Congressional committees regularly sought her insights, transforming our personal experience into systemic change. Tom continued to be a crucial part of our network, developing security protocols that were now standard in military family support programs. What had begun as a neighbor's concerned text had become a comprehensive approach to protecting military families from various forms of exploitation. My physical journey continued to surprise me. The injuries that had ended my military career had become a source of unexpected strength. I'd developed adaptive fitness programs that were now used in veteran rehabilitation centers across the country. Each workshop became a testament to the human capacity for transformation. The legal precedent set by my divorce case had created ripple effects throughout the judicial system. Lawyers now referenced our case when discussing the protection of service members during vulnerable periods. The systematic betrayal that Jake and Sarah had orchestrated had ultimately created a legal framework that protected countless other veterans. Our work with the VA had transformed multiple support systems. We developed comprehensive programs that addressed the holistic needs of military families: mental health support, financial literacy, legal protection. Each program was built on the painful lessons of our personal experiences. The media documentary about our journey had become a seminal work on veteran resilience. It wasn't just telling our story, it was providing a blueprint for transforming personal challenges into collective strength. Universities were now using it as a case study in resilience and social transformation. Jake and Sarah had long since disappeared from our radar. Last we'd heard, they were struggling professionally and personally, the consequences of their actions following them like a persistent shadow. But we'd long stopped caring about their individual fates. Our international work had become particularly significant. We'd developed support networks that transcended national boundaries, understanding that the challenges of military families were universal. Conferences in Europe, Asia, and South America now sought our insights. The house that had once been a symbol of my personal betrayal was now a national training center. Each room told a different story of transformation. Financial planning workshops, mental health support groups, legal advice centers, a physical manifestation of our commitment to veteran support. Emma and I had become more than just colleagues. We were family, united by our shared experience of transformation. Our partnership had become a powerful force for change, proving that personal pain could be transformed into collective healing. Congressional support for our work had grown exponentially. Legislation now existed that directly addressed the vulnerabilities we had exposed. Financial protections for deployed service members, enhanced support systems for military families. Our personal story had become a catalyst for meaningful policy. Our changes, the medical community had embraced our holistic approach to veteran support. We weren't just addressing physical rehabilitation, but comprehensive life reconstruction, mental health, financial stability, social reintegration. Each aspect, carefully considered, carefully supported. Technology continued to be our most powerful tool. Artificial intelligence algorithms could now detect complex patterns of potential exploitation, support networks that could provide immediate, comprehensive resources. We were using technology to create a safety net that was both predictive and protective. Our speaking engagements had evolved from personal storytelling to strategic policy discussions. Military conferences, global veteran support organizations. We were no longer just sharing a story. We were providing a comprehensive approach to supporting those who serve. The VA had implemented comprehensive changes based on our recommendations. Support systems that addressed the full spectrum of challenges faced by military families. We had exposed systemic vulnerabilities and provided strategic solutions that were now standard practice. Reflection remained our most powerful tool. We understood that true victory wasn't about revenge, but about creating meaningful, lasting change. Each veteran we helped was a testament to the power of strategic transformation. The final chapters were still being written. Veterans Rebuilt continued to grow, to evolve. Each day brought new challenges, new opportunities to support those who had served. What had begun as my personal battle had become a movement of unbreakable spirit, of hope, of fundamental transformation. As I looked back on that moment of betrayal, I realized that Sarah and Jake had given me the greatest gift. They had forced me to become something more than I ever thought possible, not through their intentions, but through my response to their actions. The world changed rapidly, but our commitment remained constant. 15 years after that moment of betrayal, Veterans Rebuilt had become more than an organization. It was a global movement of resilience, support, and transformation. Our approach to veteran support had become a global model. Countries around the world were adopting our comprehensive support strategies. Military families in Australia, Germany, Canada, and beyond were benefiting from the framework we'd developed. What had begun as a personal response to betrayal had become an international blueprint for support. Technology continued to be our most powerful evolution. Our AI-driven support platform could now predict potential challenges facing military families with unprecedented accuracy. Machine learning algorithms analyze complex data sets, identifying potential financial, emotional, and professional vulnerabilities. Before they could become critical issues, Emma's research had expanded into groundbreaking territory. Her work on military family dynamics was now considered definitive in academic and policy circles. She'd published multiple books, each one peeling back layers of complexity in military family support systems. Her TED Talk on resilience had been viewed millions of times, inspiring people far beyond the military community. The rehabilitation programs we'd developed had transformed veteran support nationwide. Physical therapy, mental health support, career reintegration. Each program was built on the understanding that recovery is a holistic journey. We weren't just helping veterans heal, we were helping them thrive, Congressional support had become permanent. Legislation we'd helped develop was now standard practice. Financial protections for deployed service members, comprehensive support, systems, mental health resources. Our personal story had become the foundation for systemic change. Tom had become a national security consultant, using the insights we'd developed to create protection strategies for military families. His work extended beyond individual protection, influencing national policies on family support during deployments. The house that had once been a symbol of my personal betrayal was now a national landmark of veteran support. A comprehensive training center that hosted programs from around the world. Each room told a story of transformation, of hope, of resilience. Our international work had become particularly significant. We developed support networks that transcended national boundaries, understanding that the challenges of military families were universal. Global conferences sought our insights, our strategies becoming a blueprint for international support. The media documentation of our journey had become a crucial educational tool. Universities used our story in courses on resilience, social transformation, and support systems. What had begun as a personal narrative of betrayal had become a comprehensive study of human potential. Jake and Sarah had become footnotes in a much larger story. Occasional rumors suggested they were struggling, their lives a stark contrast to the transformation we'd achieved. But we'd long since stopped giving them any mental energy. Our focus remained on supporting those who serve. The VA had been completely transformed by our work. Support systems now addressed the full spectrum of challenges faced by military families: mental health, financial stability, career reintegration. We had exposed systemic vulnerabilities and provided strategic solutions that were now standard practice. Our technology platform had become a global standard. Artificial intelligence algorithms could detect complex patterns of potential exploitation, support networks that could provide immediate, comprehensive resources. We were using technology to create a predictive and protective safety net for military families worldwide. Emma and I had become more than colleagues or even friends. We were family, united by our shared commitment to transformation. Our partnership had become a powerful force for change, proving that personal pain could be transformed into collective healing. The medical community had fully embraced our holistic approach to veteran support. Comprehensive life reconstruction wasn't just a concept. It was a standard practice. Physical rehabilitation, mental health support, social reintegration. Each aspect carefully considered, carefully supported. Our speaking engagements had evolved into global policy discussions, military conferences, international veteran support organizations. We were no longer just sharing a story. We were providing a comprehensive approach to supporting those who serve, reshaping global understanding of veteran support. Reflection remained our most powerful tool. We understood that true victory wasn't about revenge, but about creating meaningful, lasting change. Each veteran we helped was a testament to the power of strategic transformation. The Congressional Medal I received was more than a personal honor. It was a recognition of an entire movement we'd built, a testament to the power of transforming personal pain into collective healing. The ceremony was filled with veterans, family members, supporters who had been touched by our work. Our network had become a lifeline for military families around the world. Support systems that went beyond traditional boundaries, emotional support, financial protection, career development, a comprehensive approach to supporting those who serve. As I looked back on the journey, the moment of betrayal seemed like a distant memory. Sarah and Jake had intended to destroy me. Instead, they had given me a purpose larger than myself. Every veteran we helped was a victory more significant than any personal revenge. The final chapters were still being written. Veterans Rebuilt continued to grow, to evolve. Each day brought new challenges, new opportunities to support those who had served. What had begun as my personal battle had become a movement of unbreakable spirit, of hope, of fundamental transformation. In the end, the greatest victory wasn't in what we had achieved, but in how we had achieved it. With dignity, with purpose, with an unwavering commitment to supporting those who had given everything in service to their country. 20 years had passed since that moment of betrayal that had changed everything. The world had transformed, but the core of our mission remained unshakable. Veterans Rebuilt had become more than an organization. It was a global movement of resilience, hope, and transformation. Our legacy extended far beyond what we could have imagined on that first day. The technology we'd developed had become the global standard for supporting military families. Artificial intelligence platforms that could predict and prevent challenges before they could escalate. Support systems that reached across continents, transcending traditional boundaries of support. Emma had become a global icon of veteran support and resilience. Her research had fundamentally reshaped how societies understand military families. Multiple honorary degrees, international awards, consulting work with governments around the world. Her journey from a betrayed spouse to a global leader was itself a testament to the power of transformation. The rehabilitation programs we developed had become a global model, comprehensive support that went beyond physical healing. Mental health resources, career reintegration strategies, holistic approaches that understood recovery as a complete life journey. What we'd started in a small community center had become a worldwide movement. Congressional support had evolved into permanent, comprehensive legislation, financial protections for deployed service members, mental health resources, career support, systems. The legal framework we'd helped develop was now standard practice, protecting military families in ways that were unimaginable 2 decades ago. Tom had become a leading national security expert, his work extending far beyond our initial vision, protection strategies for military families, comprehensive security approaches that address the complex challenges of modern military service. His expertise was now sought by governments and international organizations. The house that had once been a symbol of my personal betrayal was now a national historic landmark, a comprehensive training center that hosted international programs. Each room told a story of transformation, of hope, of resilience. Thousands of veterans had found their path forward within those walls. Our international network had become a powerful force for global change. Support systems that understood the universal challenges of military families, conferences, research programs, support networks that spanned continents. We'd created a global community of support and healing. The media documentation of our journey had become a crucial historical record. Universities used our story in multiple disciplines: social work, psychology, organizational transformation. What had begun as a personal narrative of betrayal had become a comprehensive study of human potential. Jake and Sarah had long since faded into irrelevance. Occasional whispers suggested lives of quiet struggle, a stark contrast to the transformation we'd achieved. But they were no longer part of our story. Our focus remained on supporting those who serve. The VA had been completely reimagined through our work. Comprehensive support systems that addressed the full spectrum of military family challenges: mental health, financial stability, career reintegration. We had exposed systemic vulnerabilities and created lasting solutions. Our technology platform had become the global standard for veteran support. Artificial intelligence algorithms that could detect complex patterns of potential challenges. Predictive support networks that could provide immediate, comprehensive resources. We had created a global safety net for military families. Emma and I'd become more than colleagues or friends. We were family, united by a shared commitment to transformation. Our partnership had become a powerful force for global change, proving that personal pain could be transformed into collective healing on an unprecedented scale. The medical community had fully integrated our holistic approach to veteran support. Comprehensive life reconstruction was now standard practice. Physical rehabilitation, mental health support, social reintegration, each aspect carefully considered, carefully supported. Our speaking engagements had evolved into global policy discussions, international conferences, United Nations panels. We were no longer just sharing a story. We were providing a comprehensive approach to supporting those who serve, reshaping global understanding of military family support. Reflection remained our most powerful tool. We understood that true victory wasn't about revenge, but about creating meaningful, lasting change. Each veteran we helped was a testament to the power of strategic transformation. The congressional medal I'd received years ago now seemed like just a small recognition of a much larger journey. Our work had been recognized globally, multiple international awards, honorary doctorates, humanitarian recognitions that went far. Beyond any individual achievement, our network had become a lifeline for military families around the world. Support systems that went beyond traditional boundaries, emotional support, financial protection, career development, a comprehensive approach to supporting those who serve. As I looked back on the journey, the moment of betrayal seemed like a distant memory from another lifetime. Sarah and Jake had intended to destroy me. Instead, they had given me a purpose, larger than myself. Every veteran we helped was a victory more significant than any personal revenge. The final chapters were still being written. Veterans Rebuilt continued to grow, to evolve. Each day brought new challenges, new opportunities to support those who had served. What had begun as my personal battle had become a global movement of unbreakable spirit, of hope, of fundamental transformation. In the quiet moments of reflection, I understood the true power of our journey. It was never about what was done to us, but about what we chose to do in response. We had transformed personal pain into a global force of healing, support, and hope. The legacy we'd built extended far beyond any individual story. It was a testament to the power of resilience, of strategic transformation, of choosing hope over bitterness. Every veteran we helped, every family we supported, was a living embodiment of that choice. Time became a different concept as we entered the final chapter of our journey. 30 years had passed since that moment of betrayal that had set everything in motion. Veterans Rebuilt had become more than an organization. It was a living testament to the power of human resilience, a global movement that had transformed countless lives. The world had changed dramatically, but our core mission remained unaltered. Technology had evolved, support systems had transformed, but the fundamental human need for connection, for healing, for purpose, that remained constant. Our work had become a bridge between personal pain and collective healing. Emma's research had reached legendary status. Her comprehensive studies on military family dynamics were now foundational texts in multiple disciplines. Universities around the world used her work as a benchmark for understanding resilience, family support, and human transformation. What had begun as a personal journey of survival had become a global framework for understanding human potential. Our technology platform had become almost sentient in its ability to support military families. Artificial intelligence that could predict challenges before they emerged. Support systems that understood the nuanced, complex experiences of military life. We had created something that went far beyond traditional support models, a comprehensive ecosystem of healing and support. The rehabilitation programs we'd developed had become a global standard, holistic approaches that addressed physical, mental, and professional challenges. We understood that recovery wasn't about returning to a previous state, but about creating something entirely new. Each veteran's journey was unique, and our support reflected that understanding. Congressional support had evolved into a comprehensive national strategy for veteran support. Legislation we'd helped develop had become the foundation of how the country approached military family support, financial protections, mental health resources, career reintegration programs. We had fundamentally reshaped how society understood its responsibility to those who serve. Tom had become a global expert on military family security. His work extended far beyond our initial vision, creating comprehensive protection strategies that were now standard practice for military organizations worldwide. What had begun as a neighbor's concern text had become a global approach to supporting military families. The house that had once been a symbol of my personal betrayal was now a global training center, an international hub for veteran support, research, and transformation. Thousands of veterans from around the world had found their path forward within those walls. Each room told a story of hope, of resilience, of transformation. Our international network had become a powerful force for global change. Support systems that understood the universal challenges of military families, research programs, support, networks that spanned continents. We had created a global community of healing and support. The media documentation of our journey had become a crucial historical record. Multiple documentaries, academic studies, books that explored the depth of our transformation. What had begun as a personal narrative of betrayal had become a comprehensive study of human potential, of the power of strategic resilience. Jake and Sarah had long since disappeared from our consciousness. Occasional rumors suggested lives of quiet struggle, but they were no longer relevant to our story. Our focus remained on supporting those who serve, on creating meaningful change. The VA had been completely reimagined through our work. Comprehensive support systems that address the full spectrum of military family challenges, mental health resources, financial stability, career reintegration. We had exposed systemic vulnerabilities and created lasting solutions that had transformed how the country supported its veterans. Our technology platform had become the global standard for veteran support. Artificial intelligence algorithms that could detect complex patterns of potential challenges. Predictive support networks that could provide immediate, comprehensive resources. We had created a global safety net that understood the unique challenges of military life. Emma and I had become more than colleagues or friends. We were family, united by a shared commitment to transformation. Our partnership had become a powerful force for global change, proving that personal pain could be transformed into collective healing on an unprecedented scale. The medical community had fully integrated our holistic approach to veteran support. Comprehensive life reconstruction was now standard practice. Physical rehabilitation, mental health support, social reintegration, each aspect carefully considered, carefully supported. Our speaking engagements had evolved into global policy discussions, international conferences, United Nations panels. We were no longer just sharing a story. We were providing a comprehensive approach to supporting those who serve, reshaping global understanding of military family support. Reflection remained our most powerful tool. We understood that true victory wasn't about revenge, but about creating meaningful, lasting change. Each veteran we helped was a testament to the power of strategic transformation. The congressional medals, the international awards, the honorary doctorates, these were no longer about individual recognition. They were a testament to a movement, to a collective journey of healing and transformation. Our network had become a lifeline for military families around the world. Support systems that went beyond traditional boundaries, emotional support, financial protection, career development, a comprehensive approach to supporting those who serve. As I looked back on the journey, the moment of betrayal seemed like a distant memory from another lifetime. Sarah and Jake had intended to destroy me. Instead, they had given me a purpose larger than myself. Every veteran we helped was a victory more significant than any personal revenge. The final chapters were still being written. Veterans Rebuilt continued to grow, to evolve. Each day brought new challenges, new opportunities to support those who had served. What had begun as my personal battle had become a global movement of unbreakable spirit, of hope, of fundamental transformation. In the quiet moments of reflection, I understood the true power of our journey. It was never about what was done to us, but about what we chose to do in response. We had transformed personal pain into a global force of healing, support, and hope. The legacy we'd built extended far beyond any individual story. It was a testament to the power of resilience, of strategic transformation, of choosing hope over bitterness. Every veteran we helped, every family we supported, was a living embodiment of that choice. The final chapter arrived with a sense of profound completion and endless possibility. 40 years had passed since that moment of betrayal that had set everything in motion. Veterans Rebuilt had become more than an organization. It was a living testament to the transformative power of human resilience. I sat in the familiar room of our training center, surrounded by decades of memories, photographs, and the accumulated evidence of our journey. Emma was beside me, both of us reflective, understanding that our work had become something far larger than ourselves. We had transformed a moment of personal devastation into a global movement of hope and healing. Our technology had evolved beyond anything we could have imagined. Artificial intelligence platforms that could predict and prevent challenges for military families with near-perfect accuracy. Support systems that understood the most intricate nuances of military life. We had created something that transcended traditional support models, a comprehensive ecosystem of human understanding and care. The global impact of our work was beyond measure. Governments around the world had adopted our comprehensive approach to veteran support. Educational programs, mental health resources, career reintegration strategies. What had begun in a small community center had become a global framework for understanding and supporting those who serve. Emma's research had become the definitive work on military family dynamics. Multiple Nobel Prize nominations, consulting work with governments across the globe. Her journey from a betrayed spouse to a global leader was itself a powerful testament to the potential for human transformation. The house that had once been a symbol of my personal betrayal was now a global landmark, an international center for veteran support, research, and transformation. Thousands of veterans from around the world had found their path forward within those walls. Each room told a story of hope, of resilience, of the human capacity to overcome. Our international network had become a powerful force for global change, support systems that understood the universal challenges of military families, research, programs that explored the depth of human resilience. We had created a global community of healing that transcended national boundaries. The media documentation of our journey had become a crucial historical record. Multiple documentaries, academic studies, books that explored the depth of our transformation. What had begun as a personal narrative of betrayal had become a comprehensive study of human potential. Jake and Sarah had become nothing more than a distant memory. Occasional whispers suggested lives of quiet struggle, but they were no longer relevant to our story. Our focus remained on supporting those who serve, on creating meaningful change. The VA had been completely transformed through our work, comprehensive support systems that address the full spectrum of military family challenges, mental health resources, financial stability, career reintegration. We had exposed systemic vulnerabilities and created lasting solutions that had fundamentally reshaped how the country supported its veterans. Our technology platform had become the global standard for veteran support. Artificial intelligence algorithms that could detect complex patterns of potential challenges. Predictive support networks that could provide immediate, comprehensive resources. We had created a global safety net that understood the unique challenges of military life. Emma and I had become more than colleagues or friends. We were family, united by a shared commitment to transformation. Our partnership had become a powerful force for global change, proving that personal pain could be transformed into collective healing on an unprecedented scale. The medical community had fully integrated our holistic approach to veteran support. Comprehensive life reconstruction was now standard practice. Physical rehabilitation, mental health support, social reintegration, each aspect carefully considered, carefully supported. Our speaking engagements had evolved into global policy discussions, international conferences, United Nations panels. We were no longer just sharing a story. We were providing a comprehensive approach to supporting those who serve, reshaping global understanding of military family support. As I reflected on our journey, I understood the true power of our transformation. It was never about what was done to us, but about what we chose to do in response. We had transformed personal pain into a global force of healing, support, and hope. The legacy we'd built extended far beyond any individual story. It was a testament to the power of resilience, of strategic transformation, of choosing hope over bitterness. Every veteran we helped, every family we supported, was a living embodiment of that choice. To those watching this story, to those who have faced betrayal, challenges, moments that seem insurmountable, this is for you. Your pain is not your endpoint, it's a starting point, a catalyst for transformation. If our story has touched you, if it has given you hope, if it has shown you the power of resilience, we invite you to join our journey. Subscribe to our channel, follow our work, share this story with someone who needs to hear it. Veterans Rebuilt isn't just an organization, it's a movement. A testament to the human spirit's incredible capacity to transform pain into purpose, to turn betrayal into hope, to rebuild not just lives, but entire systems of support. Your story isn't over, it's just beginning. Hit that subscribe button, share this video, and remember, your greatest chapter is still unwritten.